What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the MaddenBallerz YouTube channel and our Georgia State Dynasty. If you haven't already seen the video, spoiler alert here, Georgia State won the Fiesta Bowl over Colorado 42-21, and we are going to get into the offseason in this video, first starting out with the final standings in the Sun Belt and in the top 25 poll. But first, let's go ahead and look at the bowl results from this season. If you want to see your favorite team here's result, go ahead and pause the video as we're going to go through this pretty quickly. Georgia State won their game, but the rest of the Sun Belt didn't fare too well. Georgia State finishes number 2 in the Sun Belt division, right behind South Alabama, 11-2 on the season, and a 7-2 conference record. Top 25 poll, here we go. Georgia State finishes number 10 in the country, right behind Texas at number 9. Notre Dame, your national championship winner, gets the number 1 overall ranking. Michigan comes in at 17, and rounding out the top 25, BYU. And we will move on to stats for the season here. We're going to look at some mostly senior stats here that are leaving the team, but we will go ahead and start with the rookie, the redshirt rookie, Steve Smith. 171 QB rating, over 3,000 yards passing, 29 passing touchdowns on the day, and 9 interceptions. A pretty good freshman year for Steve Smith. Lamont George, the leaving senior running back, ends up with over 1,700 yards on the season and over 3,000 yards on his career. Marcus Jackson, the senior wideout, he leaves with almost 1,300 yards receiving on the year and over 3,600 yards receiving on his career. And we have David Bailey here, over 2,500 yards receiving in his career, 11 touchdowns in his career. And finally, Mark Moore, our trio of very good receivers here, over 2,300 yards receiving and 18 touchdowns in his career at Georgia State. Moving on, the once top prospect Donald Clark, his third year on our team, he has over 300 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Not really up to expectations. Tim Harvey, middle linebacker, didn't start in his first 2 seasons, but came on here in his senior year, 79 tackles and 18 for a loss during his career here. Ryan Meyer, the senior strong safety, over 100 tackles in his career, 9 for a loss and 3 interceptions. Sean Johnson, the senior cornerback, 19 tackles for a loss, over 130 tackles in his career, 4 sacks and 6 interceptions on his career. Jerome Schroeder, maybe our best cornerback ever, 2017 Benerick Award winner, 185 tackles, 25 of those for a loss, 19 interceptions, and 5 of those taken back to the house for a touchdown. Right in Quincy Randolph, 100 tackles on the career and 46 for a loss, and 21 sacks on his career, 13 in his senior season. We will move on now to coaching changes in this dynasty here, and first up, we are going to look at the head coaching changes here. Nick Saban at Alabama gets an extension here, and we will go through the list here very quickly. So if you want to see one of these, pause the video here. You can see there is Georgia State on the list. We'll talk about that in a minute here, but some other ones around here. Oklahoma there gets an extension of their coach, and we'll round it out here at the end with Washington. They fire Jeff Mills. And here we have it. Head coach Chip Nolan, you are offered a contract extension from Georgia State. And look at that one, 7-year extension. And the coach prestige, A+. Career record 40-35 for Chip Nolan. So we signed that. And look at this, both our offensive and defensive coordinators are leaving Georgia State. And for what? We will find out here. One of them's going to Florida Atlantic to be the head coach there, and the other one is going to Central Michigan to be the head coach of the Chippewas there. And we will move on now to players leaving here at Georgia State, and we will find out right now. Marcus Jackson, we knew him, and David Bailey and Mark Moore, our top 3 receivers, were gone, but Jackson's leaving for the draft, projected round 1. Schroeder's projected round 3. And one other one there was projected round 5 as you round out the list there with Sean Johnson. And the draft results, Jackson does go in the first round, Schroeder in the 3rd, and Quincy Randolph in the 5th round. 3 draft prospects from Georgia State. What an honor And we have transfers coming in as well. James, the fullback from Ohio, and a 78 overall. Ben Wood from Mississippi State, cornerback, will help us out in our secondary. Moving on now to recruiting and signing day for Georgia State here. We will first take a look at our recruiting board before we put the points on. Thomas Hendricks there at the top, and Christian Everett there at number 4 is a big one we're looking to get to. We only had 3 commits throughout the year, so Georgia State, we need a lot of commits here at the end in signing day. We see we're putting 3,000 points on Thomas Hendricks, 3,000 on Christian Everett, and 2,000 on a defensive end there. And who's going to sign with Georgia State? Thomas Hendricks, our top overall prospect, commits, the middle linebacker. We also get 79 overall Isaac Vincent, Anthony Pendleton there, the wide receiver at 79, and rounding out Brandon Ferdino there. We also missed out on tight end Christian Everett. He was a gym prospect, I believe, 71 overall, but we did get another tight end. You didn't see all the prospects we got in that one clip. We also missed out on a few others here, but here is the list of all the prospects we got. Some of these players were ones I've taken off the board earlier in the year, but we ended up getting them anyway. So we get 16 prospects overall, 2 or 3 4-star prospects there, and it looks like 8 3-star prospects on top of that. And Georgia State did have the number 52 recruiting class in the country as note there. We move on to training results here. I don't know how this was. Isaac Cole, our backup quarterback, +6 overall to a 92. Steve Smith, +5 to a 91. Anthony Gross, who played the first year but sat out last year, redshirted him, is +5 to an 88. He will be our new starting running back. Terry Jones there. Trevor Phillips, part of our new receiving core here, +5 to an 87. He had a good year overall last year. Luther Madison there is a wide receiver as well. He moved up to an 81, I think it said. Donald Clark, senior, moves up, and we'll move through these training results pretty fast here on most of these. So if you want to see some of those and look at them a little more, pause the video here. We're through the right guard here. Right tackle, Macy, up to an 83. Brigham at left end, up to an 85 overall. So this defensive line is going to be really good. That's one of the strengths of our defense here is the defensive line. Brad Williams up to an 88 overall there. And we move on to the outside linebackers here and the middle linebackers. And we'll get to our secondary here in a second, which continues to be really good here. BJ Allen, we redshirted him last year, a freshman. He's our top overall cornerback. Alex Lowe comes back at a 91 overall free safety, and Vinny Hill 80 overall strong safety, and rounding out our kicker up to a 92 and our punter up to an 87 overall. We're going to move on to the preseason for 2019. Year 7 is coming up. We're not going to do a whole bunch here in the preseason, actually. We'll show the redshirted players here. Isaac Vincent, one of our recruits. Thomas Hendricks, our top recruit. We're going to redshirt him. And we got a right outside linebacker, a cornerback here because we were pretty deep there, a free safety we're going to redshirt here, and some receivers there. Cut players, we only had to cut 2 players, a fullback, and I believe I also cut a receiver as well. And on to the custom schedule. Bowling Green will open up the season at home with us. And then we move on to Georgia Tech, number 10, Michigan, number 11, Western Kentucky, Troy, and you see rounding out the schedule there, Old Dominion and Middle Tennessee State. So that is our schedule for the upcoming year. A tough top 15 schedule there against Michigan and Georgia Tech. One of those on the road in the big house. So we're not going to do the recruiting board here. I'll show you the recruiting board probably in week 1 once I get that set up. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're excited for the 2019 schedule and season and year 7 here, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.